Hey Wanda, I was gonna just show you, I'm pretty sure you know how to do this already, but I was gonna tell you, you know, when you go shopping and you buy lettuce or any green vegetable, as soon as you come home, you don't want to put it in the fridge. You want to just throw it in the sink, throw it in your salad spinner, and wash it. And I use these gallon storage bags. I don't use the freezer bags for storing stuff in the fridge because the freezer bags are really thick. So I just get these gallon storage bags, and you know, I put my clean, spun, dry, leafy green lettuces and vegetables in here. So I'll show you in a second. Okay, so this is my lettuce all spun and dry. Just zip it up. I take the extra air out of the bag by just pressing up against it. It's okay if you crack a few, it's not gonna mess them up. And then just closing it, and it's nice and flat. That way you don't have any air in there or a little bit of air. And just pop it in the fridge. So this is rainbow chard. You can find it where the other green leaf vegetables are. Rainbow chard. If you read Food Babe's blog that I sent you, she advises against drinking too much of the same green vegetable in your green drink, because I gave you a recipe for green juice for the weekend. I advise you to use kale, which is okay because you're only going to do it for a couple of days. But if you find that you like green juice and you want to keep it in your diet, this is another option according to Food Babe. I've cooked this before, like sauteed it, but it turns kind of like brown if you cook it, and I don't like that. So I'm going to try it in a green juice this week. Or you can lightly steam it. You could just rip up the leaves. So to cut it up, it's pretty big. You can either use your kitchen shears and cut the stems. The stems are good to eat. You can stir fry these, or you can cut them up and eat them in a salad. They're like celery sticks. Actually, they're not like celery sticks. They kind of taste like dirt. So I'm gonna throw those away. But you can cut them like that, or you can just take the knife and you can just cut them all at once, like that. Cut off all the things, and then I just stack them like that. And then I just cut them like in half, like that, so that they're not that big. And just put them in the spinner, so you can get ready to spin them. That's it. So I put the Swiss chard away, the rainbow chard away like I did the lettuce. So this is organic collards. These are for the veggie wraps that I want you to eat this week for lunch. So you wash these the same way, and in the sink, cold water, and then I'll show you how to take the leaves apart so you can put together your wrap. So after it's washed, usually I just put it in the sink with cold water, and then I'll rub the leaves with my hands like that to get the dirt off. But after it's washed, you can just take it by the stem, and then you can just rip the leaf off like that. You want to rip it all the way down because there's a big thick stem in the middle. You just throw the stem away, and then you get the leaf like that. Or you can use your kitchen shears, and you could just cut the leaf off if you think that's easier, like that. Just cut it on either side of the stem, and then you get 2 of those, because this is gonna be your wrap, and I'll show you that in a minute. So after you get these guys all cut up like that, then you spin them to get the water off. So since the leaves are really big, my salad spinner didn't really dry them that well, so I had to use a paper towel and just pat them dry. So how I store them, because it's good to get all the prep work done the night before and make them the morning that you're going to eat them, just because they're better when they're fresh. Just fold them in half like that. And then take the other half, fold it in, line them all up and then fold it again. And then you just put them in your freezer bag or in your storage bag, I mean. It's okay if some of them rip. I'm going to show you how to assemble them in a little bit. Actually, I'm probably going to keep one out, that way I can assemble it for you, because I'm going to make these in the morning. I'm just going to use this little leaf because a lot of the big ones, you're going to cut them in half, so they're going to be about, you know, half the size, so they're going to be about that size. But so I'll just use this little leaf, that way I can show you the process of putting it together. And you're not going to use this whole bag for your lunch, you know. You just do the same thing. Take the air out. Yep. So what you use in your wraps is up to you. I haven't always made them like this. I've used other vegetables, but today for these wraps I'm using daikon radish. It's a milder type of the little red radishes, but it's called daikon. It looks like a long tube. I just cut that one. I'm using alfalfa sprouts. I'm using red bell pepper, cucumber. I'm not going to peel those because they're organic in the skin stand. Green onion, carrots, and mango. It sounds weird to use mango, but trust me, it really works because it's really sweet. So it's nice to balance out all the earthiness of the vegetables. You can also use apple if you want, but like I said, any of these vegetables can change. I usually like to put crunchy vegetables with soft vegetables. And also, like, you know, whatever you have in your fridge, like, you don't always have to put green onion. These need to get used, so I'm using them. I got that at the CSA today because Wednesday we pick up our vegetables, so I'm using that. But yeah, and I'll show you how to cut them up. You're going to cut them like matchsticks. The only thing that definitely the veggie wraps need is collard greens for the wrap part, and your spread. So I showed you a recipe on how to make pate with the walnuts and the sunflowers. You don't have to use that. I like to use it in this recipe especially because the nuts have protein in them, and that's gonna boost up like your protein as well as your fiber from the vegetables. You could use hummus. I showed you a picture of the hummus that I buy. You can also make hummus. I would definitely advise you to borrow a food processor from somebody because you can't make like the pate, and you can't make homemade hummus without a food processor. So I haven't been able to afford the food processor of my dreams because it's $400, but one day I will buy it. But let me show you what I use now. So I'm sure you already have a base for a blender. I have a much better blender that I use for making my smoothies and drinks, the KitchenAid blender. This is a Hamilton Beach. I guess it used to have the glass base on top, but somebody gave it to me a long time ago, and actually I'm sure if you go to the store you can buy the base for a food processor, which looks like that, and there is a blade. I don't know what brand of blender that you have, but I'm sure if you go to the store and you look for, you can buy an attachment that's a food processor attachment. This says Blender Chef by Hamilton Beach because I guess it came with that setup. But basically, this is a small one as well, so you're not going to be able to fit much in it, but for the recipes you'll be making at first, like hummus or pate, you can make pesto. Apparently you can make nut butter, but you need a really good processor for that. But for this one, I usually either make my own hummus when I'm not lazy, or I make the pate for the wraps. So it comes with the blade, and it comes with the top, and then you just put it on top with the blender part, and then when you plug it in, you're gonna see like blend. So you'll be using the blend function on here. It's not the best, but it works really good. It made really good pate, and it makes pretty good hummus. You just have to blend it for a long time, and it's really loud, but it does the job. So that's what I use for now until I can buy the food processor I want. But I'm gonna cut these up into matchsticks, and then I'll show you what they look like after. Cut your vegetables up like matchsticks. This is what mine look like. They don't have to be perfect, just whatever. And then I put these in the fridge overnight, and then in the morning I make my wraps. But I'll show you how to make one right now. You need your pate, and you need toothpicks. You don't need too much pate, but you want to spread it on the side that's not shiny. So there's like the dark green or shiny side, and then there's the dull side. So, well, I guess you could spread it on either side. It doesn't really matter. But I always just spread it on that side. So, you don't need too much. If you eat too much of this, you're probably going to get gassy because it has a lot of garlic and oil in it. So I just use a little bit. But I like the way it tastes, so I use a little bit more than I should probably. So you just put the spread on it. And then you just put the veggies in however you want. I usually use like 1 or 2 of each because you don't want to make them too big or they won't close. Especially if the wrap is little. You just need like 1 sliver of mango for the sweetness. Okay, so now you have it. It's okay if it's ripped. You're going to close it in here. And then you just roll it. Okay, so that one really cracked on me, but whatever. I'll use a bigger leaf next time, that won't happen. And then you just eat it. Really good. It's a little bit messy, but if you use a bigger leaf, like this was a really small leaf, if you use a little bit bigger of a leaf, it won't crack. And it'll stay like wrapped better, but you need the toothpick to hold it in. And then you just put them in a bag or whatever for lunch. But they're really good, so enjoy. So the next thing I was going to show you is a spaghetti squash. This is on your menu. It replaces pasta. It's just a vegetable. It's a type of squash. It's really easy to make. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this tonight, and then I'm just going to, after it's cooked, put it in the fridge, and then cut it up tomorrow for dinner because it just saves time. This is a pretty small one. The bigger it is, the longer it takes to cook. This one's probably like a little under a pound, but it usually says spaghetti squash. If not, this is what it looks like. And I'm gonna bake it at 350 for about 30 minutes, and I'll check it after 30 minutes, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. But you don't have to do anything to it. Just pop it on the cookie sheet, put it in a 350 oven, and let it cook. Set your timer for 30 minutes. If it's a big squash, maybe 40 minutes. This actually took a little bit longer to cook than 30 minutes, maybe like around 40 to 45. But it's easy to tell when it's done. It's soft when you press it. It has brown spots like that. So to cut it, cut the ends off. 1, 2. And then you cut it down the middle. The inside's a little bit messy, so you just take a spoon and you just carve out the top part, because the top part is all like the seeds and the gunk. So you do that. take it out. I've roasted these seeds in the past. They're really good in the oven, but if you're gonna take the time to take all the stuff off, it's up to you. It's a good snack though. There's not many in here, maybe enough for like 1 or 2 servings. So that's what it looks like, middle carved out. Take a fork. And do it in a bowl already. And we just carve out the middle. And it comes out like spaghetti strands. Real nice. See? Spaghetti squash. It's awesome. It's really good. You could, if you have clumps in there, you can just break it up or keep them whole, whatever you want. But it's awesome. It's good by itself too, with a little butter, salt, and pepper. But if you want to get super fancy for dinner, I have some leftover meat sauce that I made. I put it in the freezer all week. So I have a recipe for simple meat sauce that you can make. So I just top this with the spaghetti squash. It's really good. I want you to limit your dairy intake, so you can have up to 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese if you want to flavor your dish. I would suggest investing in a very large bag of frozen mixed vegetable. This one's from Costco. You could probably find one at the grocery store, but you probably have to buy a few bags. It's really nice because it's mixed vegetables, so it has green beans, peas, carrots, corn, shelled edamame, green beans, and I usually I either put it in the sauce and put it on top, or I just serve it on the side with a little butter, salt, and pepper. It's really good. It's also a good go-to vegetable in the freezer. That way you can always have fresh vegetables on the side of any meal. So that's good. And that is your spaghetti squash dinner. Enjoy.